Hello and welcome to nibbanaTV. I'm Julianne Storr. Now, how often have you seen a film that really touched you in a way that kept you engaged for a couple of hours and communicated messages that were of interest to you, your place in the world, and got you thinking about things that really matter? Well, one of those films is What About Me by One Giant Leap Productions. It's just come out in Australia and it's been produced by Duncan Bridgeman from the UK and Jamie Catto. Now, Duncan and Jamie travelled over 50 locations around the world, worked with over 100 collaborators to put together this incredibly rich and diverse movie, and I'm really thrilled to welcome Duncan here to speak with us today.
The world is beautiful.
So what is One Giant Leap? Is that what you're asking me?
What is One Giant Leap?
What is One Giant Leap? One Giant Leap is like a new form of collective. Me and Jamie started it. The idea was really that to make music that we liked, because we were both professional musicians, and when you're a professional musician, most of the time you're making rubbish, because it's what people want, and you get paid for it. So we thought, enough of that, let's make some music that we like. And it's kind of grown from there, through Chris Blackwell finally hearing our stuff, who was Bob Marley's producer and signed U2, and he's a lovely man. He funded us to do a trip around the world and do our first One Giant Leap. And now there's this one, What About Me, which is our new One Giant Leap, which is coming out here, I think, any moment now. Basically, we composed some music, which we put into a laptop. Some pretty good music, we thought. Enough to inspire people to kind of join in and want to be part of it. And then we travelled around the world, 5 countries in Africa, South America, North America, China, Japan, to the Middle East, Turkey and Egypt. Playing the music to people, putting headphones on them and getting them to join in with us.
In their own way.
In their own way.
In their country, in their style. And
exactly. Often in their own home. That was our, if we could do it in their house, then that's great. Not in a recording studio. Just have a nice little, travelling kit. And it was beautiful because as you take the music to the next place, say you put on some drumming in China, then when you play that music in Egypt, they hear our music, the drumming in China, and they add their level. And then the next level comes. So the music is constantly growing. And it's not music of a certain country, it's music of everywhere.
Of the world,
it's like the internet, really, it's just everywhere. And that's what we really wanted to, not prove, but maybe just demonstrate that we're much more the same in the world than people give us credit for. If you pick up the newspaper or turn on the radio, you think everyone's at war, everyone hates each other. But it's not like that at all when you actually go somewhere. I've just been to Colombia, and before I went to Colombia, everyone said, oh no, you can't go to Colombia, you'll be kidnapped and tortured. And like, yeah, I probably won't, will I, really?
I just made some really cool music.
Yeah, and I went there and I met some really lovely people, and made some really cool music, and I came home. Maybe somebody got kidnapped and tortured, but it wasn't me.
Yeah, well, that's the main thing.
Exactly. Oh, sorry.
So, Duncan, how long was the journey, the first original journey for making the film and filming all of this? How many hours? Over 1,000 hours of footage?
Well, when we got back, we travelled for 7 months, basically to every continent. Wow. In every country, maybe for about 10 days, sometimes 2 weeks. So you arrive and you just run around like mad things. Yeah, like you have certain people that you want to get. Like we were in Mexico. We went to Mexico to get Leela Downs, as this beautiful, beautiful singer. And then when we were there, we thought, okay, we're in Mexico. What else can we get? Yeah. And we went to we got this fantastic fandango group called Chichumbe, who improvise songs on any theme you want. So we gave them the theme of men and women, and they wrote this whole song, and that was a beautiful session. So. That's what I'm saying, you're kind of travelling very quick, filming everything that happens. So you get home, and as you said, we had, I think, 1,400 hours when we got home. Which is, I don't know, about 3 weeks or something, I don't know. It took us a long time to watch it all. We had to wade through it all, pick out the good bits.
That'd have been tough, even narrowing that down.
Then you have to know what's a good bit.
That's where you have to rely on your intuition and just go with what speaks to you and what invokes emotion.
And yeah, we did it, and we realised that we had the music. The music was quite simple in a way because we heard it building up as it went. The dialogue was much more difficult because, one, it's quite difficult. You sit somebody down in front of a camera and ask them about the unanswerable questions of life. Some people are really good at it. Eckhart Tolle. Bagman does.
Beautiful.
It's about, people who are sure of what they're saying, but have an element of humility and an element of humour. Yeah. We had a lot of people who are sure of what they're saying, but they come across like a bit too sure. Yeah. And that nobody likes to be preached at. Nobody likes anybody that's too cocky. Yeah. So we had to a lot of interviews we just dropped. Then you get other people like Billy Connolly and Stephen Fry, who are just beautiful people, and they're used to being on the camera, so they're relaxed. Yeah. And they don't mind being honest. And Billy especially was like,
and being
very
such
honest
a
with us.
comedian, and then what he talked about was something that was not funny at all, but he
Yeah.
did it in such a way that was just such just really connected. It was very so authentic and
Yeah, he
just
talks
really
about being abused when he was a kid.
And time doesn't make it go away.
No,
You
it
think
gets
it's going to go
worse, he
away,
says.
it just stays there.
So he said, I mean, and that's the thing, that our film, this film, really is about us, how we're all mad, and how that madness is the biggest unifying factor on the planet.
Yeah.
I mean, we can all say, okay, it's the same colour of the skin, and all these kind of things. But that's what we did in our first film.
Yeah.
We just said, okay, we're all one human family. Let's celebrate that, and we did that.
Yeah.
But then we realised when we thought about it, we are one human family, but it's a bit dysfunctional. And the reason it's dysfunctional is because we're all barking mad. We don't love ourselves, we don't love each other, we don't treat ourselves with respect, we don't treat the world with respect.
Yeah.
So we kind of thought, well, let's talk to people about that. And Billy Connolly was saying, like, what drives you, Billy? What's underneath,
Yeah.
And he said, his abuse, by him looking at that factor in his life, is a key to him moving forward. And if he moves forward, and I move forward, and you move forward, then the whole world is moving forward. Because I think there has been this whole thing up to now of kind of blame.
Yeah.
Oh, they have done this, and but it's not. Everyone's realising that I told you so has no power.
No.
The power is in yourself. If you're okay with yourself and the people you surround yourself with, then we're growing. We are properly growing as one human family to be a functional family and not a dysfunctional one.
And it's funny because so many people think that when you were talking about the blame, and it all becomes externalised, and blaming other people for war or what's going on, or abuse, or all of that kind of thing. But it all really starts in our own backyard, and we can't control or change other people. But so many people think that's a selfish thing to do. And so it's interesting, the message in the film with What About Me? Because it is about all that giving and doing things for other people and self-sacrificing, which makes people seem like they're being generous and giving, but ultimately, often there's like an underlying agenda.
Yeah.
And so, bringing it back to that message then, what is about me, and how do I clean up my own backyard? How do I take responsibility in my life so that I can...
I mean, selfishness actually gets a really bad rap, because selfishness is actually looking after yourself. It's through looking after yourself that you are able to look after other people, like you're saying, because often people are trying to look after other people, but they're not actually looking after themselves, so they're not making any progress.
Well, a great example of that I find is, particularly mothers and women who are so looking after the children and their partners and their family. And most of the women I know actually have less time for themselves, and yet they're the ones that are the nurturers that are really, kind of the nucleus and the foundation of a whole family unit.
And the energy that's in them, they're spreading that through their children. Because a lot of the things that we've talked to a lot with people, like Eckhart Tolle's got this amazing thing called the pain body, which you probably know about, which is, it's nothing new, it's not new information, but he's really put it in a way that's easily understandable, that all the emotion and all the rubbish that you never sort out just builds up and becomes this separate character that is ready there and needs negativity and needs you to be in conflict. And so therefore, whenever it can, it kind of takes you over and you become that pain body. And for me especially, that's really helped me to kind of separate that from who I am. Because this is what he says, the key is realising that pain body is not you. It's a bit like a demon that kind of possesses you when you allow it. And so now I'm a bit better when I had this great moment the other day. I was in London and I was walking, going to have a meeting. Yeah, not a big meeting, just an internet-y kind of thing. And for some reason, I was really scared. And I kind of walked down the street and I went, oh, I'm really scared. And I noticed, okay, well, Eckhart Tolle, okay, I've noticed that I'm scared. So actually, it's not, I've noticed that I'm scared. So that's not actually me that's scared. And suddenly it kind of, I was still scared, but the power had gone a little bit and my skip came back in my step and I went to the meeting and everything was fine. Where before, if I hadn't thought that, maybe when you're unconscious and your awareness is not on that, you don't actually realise what's going on, and maybe you go into the meeting and you get into a fight with someone because you're actually scared and you're compensating for that. So this stuff is so simple and so subtle.